티치 잉글리시 팟캐스트.
Hello, this is our second podcast, and I am Michelle. And
Yes, my name is Ian. Hello, nice to meet you guys.
so, welcome to our podcast.
Yeah.
So, today we're going to talk about New Year's resolution in America and in Korea.
Very
So, yeah. So, I'm kind of wondering what Americans are making as their New Year's resolutions.
Usually for American resolutions, it's always like, I'm going to start going to the gym, is what Americans usually do.
It's very similar
To Korea?
with Koreans, yeah.
How so?
So when the New Year comes, we usually make New Year's resolutions as three things. Like one is going to the gym or going on a diet, or second is studying English. Third is like going to travel or having more time with family, something like that.
Interesting. So more than one, because usually in the US, it's always like kind of fitness related for some reason.
So only one?
I mean, there's other ones, but the most common is like, I'm going to start hitting the gym or going to the gym is always what people do.
Really? So it's mostly related to physical things?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how is it going? Like, how is it going usually? Because here, when the New Year comes, like people are so passionate about their plans or resolutions. So
Yeah.
they register for gym or they just look for hagwons and stuff. But after 2 months or 3 months later, like it's very, very hard to
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah, we call them the resolutioners.
resolutioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the US. We do.
Really? Here, there's a similar expression like 작심삼일.
Oh, okay.
작심삼일 means like deciding and doing for 3 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 I saw this thing where it's like, if you do something for 2 weeks, then it becomes more of a habit. So 2 weeks, you do it every day for 2 weeks, it becomes a habit. But if you stop doing it for more than 2 days, the habit stops.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's
Yeah.
kind of true if I think about it.
Yes, so building a habit is very, very difficult.
Yeah, you just gotta keep going, I think. So
yeah,
the
right.
gym's always really crowded the first month of January in the US.
Okay, what about February?
February, it's still busy, but less people are definitely coming for sure. So
March is less people. Like it gets less and less.
yeah. Well, then it's just by March, it's back to the normal, with maybe a few people that like actually stuck to their like goal of going every day. So
Yeah, here it's the similar. So it becomes less and less people in the gym.
Yeah.
But when it comes summer, like June or July, like gets more and more people because it's summer.
that's when the gym's most important, though, is summer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was asking my friend the other day at my gym, and I was like, "Do you train abs?" And he's like, "Only in summer." And I was like, "What?"
But very strategic though.
Yeah, it's strategic for sure.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was interesting.
Yeah,
so
it
it
is,
is what
it
it is.
is.
Do you have any New Year's goals then?
Oh, my New Year's goals.
Or resolutions?
Going to the gym for sure.
Okay. Have you started?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I will.
Okay.
I will. Because I started working out, not that like hard ones. Like I started like treadmills and steppers and stuff. But I kind of decided to do weight training because I never tried.
Yeah.
So that's one of my goals. But I just didn't hit the gym yet. So
Weight training's, you can call it like resistance training as well. Resistance training.
Okay.
Because it's basically like you're resisting gravity is the point of it, right?
Okay.
So it's pretty healthy for your bones too. It builds up bone strength. So it's pretty healthy thing too. And there's like this phrase of like strong body, strong mind, right? So if you're building strength, it kind of helps your mentality as well, I think.
Right.
So yeah. So when will you start, do you think then? Start today.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You can go.
That's
Although
a good idea.
in Korea, Sundays I've noticed gyms aren't really open on Sundays in Korea.
Yes, that's my good excuse for not starting today.
Already excuses? Oh no.
Yeah. Okay.
That's funny.
But you've been working out, right? Like for last 2 years?
Actually not necessarily. So when I started college, my next door neighbor was huge. He was my age, but he was like massive. He was like a bodybuilder. And so my friend and I were like, dude, we gotta look like that, right? And so the first time I went to the gym, I had no idea what I was doing. And after we finished, our roommate, came up, she's like, what were you guys doing at the gym? Like, he's like saying we were doing weird stuff. He's like, what were you guys doing? I was like, we were working out. He's like, you were hitting every machine in the gym. That's not what you're supposed to do. So we would literally hit every machine at the gym and then left. And he was like, what are you guys doing? You have to like split it up and, focus certain muscles. And so come a long way since then. So freshman year did it a little bit. Sophomore year started routining it, doing it every day. But then COVID hit. And to be honest, then I kind of just did like home training. So like push-ups, sit-ups, that sort of thing. And then I continued a little bit. And then I stopped. And then when I came to Korea, I started going to the gym again.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
So it's been from last year, I guess?
Yeah, last year about. So I've been working out gym only almost 2 years, probably.
Almost 2 years.
Only gym. Home training, not including home training.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think is the most important factor that keeps you going?
Mental game, mentality, probably.
So what do you think when you think of like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym?
I think when I don't want to go to the gym, I think if there is a best version of me, what would he do? And I kind of can think of like, it's kind of like a motivational thing I have. So, for example, if I create the best version of myself, I think of him as like, he's my enemy. Like I'm fighting against him, right? Whatever I'm trying to do, he's also trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right.
So like, I know if I don't go to the gym, he went to the gym. If I didn't do this, he did that. If I didn't talk to that girl, he talked to that girl. So I'm kind of competing against myself, if that makes sense.
Wow, okay. Oh.
So it's like, and the beauty of that is like, it's not an actual person, it's me, right? I learned that from, there was this famous kickboxer, and he originally, to get motivation, he'd be like, I'm fighting against this person, I have to train. And when he stopped, he didn't know what to do because he's like, I don't have an opponent, I don't have anyone to fight against anymore. How am I supposed to get motivation? And so he created this like idea of like, I'm competing against this alternate version of me. And he's kicking my butt, right? I have to step it up if I want to beat him. So that's kind of how I see it.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very inspiring. And kind of makes me guilty in a way.
Well, that's kind of the point of it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of give you that like urgency of like, wow, if there was me, if I was looking at myself as like a third person, what would that person do? And so obviously you can only, it's almost impossible to do it like that, right? But it still kind of gives you that kind of motivation to like compete in a way, even if there's no opponent. So that's kind of how when I first started and I wanted to quit, I would think like that. These days it's more of just like a habit, but when I first started out, that was kind of how I continued going. So
Okay. And what's your New Year's resolution?
To be honest, I don't really like New Year's resolutions.
Oh, why so?
I think if you want to do something, why do you have to wait till the new year? Just start it now. So that's kind of usually how I think. I think they're kind of like an excuse in a way. So
you don't have any New Year's resolution for like new
I mean,
things
if I did have a New Year's resolution, I started it
already
when I thought of it,
Oh.
not January 1st.
You're like a motivational speaker to say. But
Maybe.
yeah, you have a point, right?
So do you have any New Year's resolutions?
No, like actually, like if somebody asks me, like, do you have any New Year's resolution? Then I think I automatically talk to them like, yes, going to the gym, like without thinking that much, because that's been on my list for so long time, and I know I need to do it, but I also know that I don't do it. So when somebody asks me like, what's your New Year's resolution? Then I would say for health, I will go to the gym, and probably I will do exercise, but thinking back now, I think I kind of like answered it automatically. Yeah. Like you said, like if I felt I really needed to do it, then I'd already started it, right? So,
Yeah. Because I used to have that mindset of, oh, it's January 1st, I'm going to start doing things. And I realized doing that, it didn't actually, it was less effective.
And for Koreans, many people who are already working are so interested in making extra money as well. So there are these 3 lies that employees would say. One thing is, I'm going to start YouTube. Or I'm gonna like start like English studying, something like that. So are Americans interested in making YouTube channels or making extra money as well, or?
I mean, yeah, there is that. It depends on the person, I feel like. So
It's not the trend, or like many people would want to have. It's not like that.
I think in the US, it seems like a lot of people like say something. Like for example, like my aunt, she always says things like, oh, I want to learn guitar. And then, she hasn't picked up the guitar in 10 years. So it's kind of like when someone says something like that, I kind of just wait for the action, not the actual sentence. So, because I think that's kind of more truthful, I feel like.
Yes, actions speak louder than words.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I don't know. Do you have something like that too?
Something I always say but never do.
Or maybe like when someone in Korea says like, oh, I'm gonna start doing this. Do you take it like with a grain of salt, for example? Do you know what that means? Grain of salt?
No.
It's like Sion actually knows it. Sion, do you want to explain grain of salt? You 배웠잖아. It's like someone says something, but you shouldn't believe it 100%. So like if I say like, oh yeah, steak is like has the most protein, but like these days like, farmers aren't raising cows correctly. You should maybe take it with a grain of salt. Like maybe do your own research after hearing it. That sort of thing.
Oh yes, I am kind of like that too. Yeah, I just see how that person actually acts. Yeah, like I can listen to. Oh, okay, it could be good. Your good opinion, but like if you want to see it true or not, then you need to wait and see how he or she actually acts.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
I want to I'm kind of curious that so making New Year's resolutions is kind of like thing in Korea. Like no matter how old she or he is, like students make resolutions and like adults make resolutions, but like is it the same in America?
Yeah, usually it's a common thing to make resolutions. But like I said, it's kind of this like in the US these days there's just like this trend of like like kind of motivational like there's so many motivational speakers in the US these days that for the younger generation it's kind of going away because there's all these motivational speakers in the US. Like there's this one guy called David Goggins. Do you know David Goggins?
I think I've heard of him.
He's like this Marine. He was a Marine. And he's just very like kind of like he's a little bit crazy. And he does these like 200-mile runs like in like just
Wow.
just running.
Okay.
And so he
Like
does these
at one time?
like in a good way, not like crazy person. So he does all these motivational speakers, and so many kids these days are on the internet. So they listen to these motivational speakers, and these motivational speakers are always kind of against resolutions because they think they're very like, they're kind of seen as like an excuse to start something. Oh, I'll do this at New Year's. And a lot of times these motivational speakers, kind of like I was saying, they're like, just start right now. Why aren't you starting now?
Right.
Why are you waiting till this day?
Yeah, right.
So
good point.
that's kind of, with older people, it's very common, I'd say. The younger, like my generation, it's starting to kind of not, you know, people are starting to not do that sort of thing.
Okay.
A little bit.
So when you decide something that you want to do, then just do it right away.
Well, that's the you know, in the perfect world, that's the idea,
right?
But
yes.
sometimes, you know, I try and do that, but it's not always, you know.
Yeah, we are humans, so.
Yeah. Like David Goggins, his like message is like, he talks about like your brain is very powerful, right? It's like your most powerful weapon or tool, most powerful tool. And he's like, he had this phrase of like, if you can't control your brain, how can you control anything? And so,
Right.
and when you think about it, you're kind of like, oh, that's, you know, that makes sense, right?
Oh.
You're kind of just, if you can't control the only thing you can control, then you're kind of just floating around a bit.
Is there any food that Americans eat for New Year's?
Not really, no. It's kind of just like, well, there is one trend where it's like, you're supposed to like kiss your date on New Year's. Like, do you remember in the show Friends?
Show Friends?
In the
Show
show
Friends,
yeah,
yes.
in Friends, there's Chandler and Joey, and Joey's like, it hits New Year's, and Joey's like, somebody kiss me, and then Chandler kisses him, and everyone's like, what the heck?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
That's
other
kind
than
of tradition?
yeah, well, it's kind of like a little bit.
Okay.
But other than that, it's not. There's not really anything. In Korea, it's what? It's dokguk, right?
We eat tteokguk.
If you don't eat dokguk, does that mean you didn't become older?
No.
Is that just like is that like a conspiracy theory or something?
Yes, but everybody knows it's conspiracy. So, but you know, we are kind of jokingly say, "Oh, you don't get old because you don't eat tteokguk yet." So,
Because I was talking to a friend and they were like, "Oh, I won't eat dokguk this year." That's what they said to me because they didn't want to get older.
Yes.
He's like, Ian, you can eat dokguk.
yeah, but he knows the truth. So,
So
right.
it was interesting.
So it's not a big thing as here, like, right? Because
I mean,
we have this holiday called 설날, and that's Lunar New Year's Day, and it's very, very big holiday for us.
Yeah.
But you guys don't have like that, right?
Like we know of Lunar New Year, but we don't really. It's not celebrated in the same way.
And for Solar New Year, like January the 1st, like you guys celebrate like as we do, or it's just like New Year's Day? And
I mean,
like,
some people go to like a party or New Year's party, right?
Oh.
Some people stay at home. It's just kind of whatever you want. But there's no like, not because like in Korea everyone gets a year older, but that obviously doesn't exist in the US. So it's just like, you know, it's the new year. Usually people watch the ball drop in New York. It's kind of a very common thing to do.
Okay.
So, but it's kind of interesting because when you watch the ball drop, if you're on the West Coast, it drops at 9 p.m., not 12. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah. So.
Yeah, right. Because of different time zones, right?
Yeah, it wasn't New Year's. It wasn't the New Year for my parents until January 2nd in the morning in Korea.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so when did you say to your parents like Happy New Year?
They sent it to me actually on New Year's Eve because of the whole time zone. So they sent it to me. So I just said it then too, just normal time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So before you leave, if you like this content, please subscribe and leave likes and comments. And what you think of New Year's and what's different, what is different in your country as well. So,
yeah, I would also want to encourage people to leave comments on something you would like Michelle and I to talk about in the future. I think that'd be good too.
Yes. Yes. Right.
Cool. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
티치 잉글리시 팟캐스트